From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is a tropical weather update.
Fred Gossage here in the Tennessee Valley Weather Center on this Tuesday, October 28th, 2025, with the afternoon edition of the Tropical Weather Update. Powerful Hurricane Melissa making landfall in Jamaica at the midday time period here as a Category 5 hurricane, actually one of the most intense landfalls in Atlantic Basin recorded history. Of course, that only goes back to the 1800s, and before then, don't have too much of any idea of what happened in detail, but in the past 150 years or so, this is tied for third place in terms of landfall intensity, in terms of pressure in the Atlantic Basin, making landfall at 185 mile per hour sustained winds and a pressure of 892 millibars today. And it's continuing to move across the island, going to be moving offshore here as we head later into the afternoon and early evening. Somewhere near Montego Bay is where it's going to move back out into the water and hold some intensity, but it is lessening. Still a Category 5 though, but you can see the perfect eye structure that it had earlier has been shrinking and filling in as it's moved on shore. That is natural for all hurricanes to weaken as they move over land, especially mountainous land. They'll weaken quickly, and the inner core is being disrupted by the landmass of Jamaica here. So there will be some weakening as it comes northward, and this will not be a Category 5 landfall in Cuba, but it will still be a powerful hurricane. Here is the watch and warning setup across the Caribbean islands up into the Bahamas. There is a hurricane warning naturally for Jamaica, southeastern and eastern Cuba, and parts of the Turks and Caicos, the western islands here up into the southeastern and central Bahamas. There's a hurricane warning. That's the islands outlined in red. Tropical storm warnings up in the east central parts of Cuba for Haiti and the eastern parts of the Turks and Caicos. That's the blue outlines. Either hurricane force winds or tropical storm force winds are expected within the next 24 to 36 hours in these areas. Here's the latest advisory. As of the 2 p.m. Central Time hour, they're doing it hourly updates now. This is a pre-recorded situation, so I won't have the 3 o'clock information, but it's likely to step down. It's likely to either hold Category 5 at 3 o'clock or step down into high-end Category 4. But as of 2 p.m. on the advisory, maximum sustained winds were down to 160 miles per hour. Pressure up significantly because of the landfall and moving over the mountainous terrain there, 906 millibars. That's still down into the basement, but it's come up significantly compared to what it was. Movement is north-northeast at 8 miles per hour. Last night, it did take the expected northward turn that was forecasted. And here's the track, moving northeastward and crossing Cuba here over the next 12 to 24 hours as a major hurricane, making landfall likely as a Category 4 west of Santiago de Cuba, and then moving northeastward, still holding Category 3 intensity as it moves offshore and into the southeast Bahamas. Still likely weakening, even though it's moving back over water, because it will be encountering upper level wind shear that will start impacting it. So it's likely to go from a Category 3 down to a Category 2 as it moves into the southeastern Bahamas and near the Turks and Caicos, and then kicking out into the west central Atlantic, getting somewhere near Bermuda as we head Thursday night into Friday morning. As still a significant hurricane, but a weakening one, and then merging into the upper level jet stream and becoming non-tropical as it moves into the open waters of the North Atlantic. Notice with that track, there is no direct impact to the United States, and models are in extreme agreement with that. This is not going to turn back westward toward the United States because of all these upper level troughs and cold fronts coming through the next several days. That's what's pushing it off to the northeast and keeping it away from the United States. Now, beyond this, you know, the Atlantic hurricane season goes through the end of November. We have Hurricane Melissa on the board. As of now, there are no other systems outlined for the potential for development for at least the next 7 days. So going into early November, the only thing we have on the board for the Atlantic Basin is Hurricane Melissa. We'll watch things very carefully. There's still the potential that we may have another system out there before the end of November, just because we still have the whole month to go. And occasionally you can get tropical storms and even occasionally hurricanes to develop. But for right now, we don't see any additional signs of trouble beyond Melissa, but we'll be watching carefully. That's the latest here from the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. You can catch the next regularly scheduled tropical weather update tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. That's with Kelly Ross, and you can watch that right here on the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel.